To prepare my handout, I'll click File, Print to open Print View, where I'll choose a layout and other settings. I'll start with the Page Layout button, which shows all the layouts. Until I choose a different layout, the one that's selected is Full Page Slides. This prints the slide full page in a landscape or horizontal page orientation. You might want this layout for a slide that has very detailed information, like this process diagram. If you didn't want the full page layout for all your slides, you could print just one slide, such as this one, using the Print Current Slide option. Then you'd choose another layout for the rest of the slides. Let's look at the layouts in the Handouts section. These look more like handouts. I'll compare the one slide layout here with the full page slides layout. In the one slide layout, the slide is smaller and the page now has a portrait or vertical orientation. It also has headers and footers, a date and page number, which emphasize the handout format. Looking again at the full page slide, there are no headers and footers. And it's the slide details, like the slide number, that are emphasized. Let's see some other handout examples. This is the 2 slides layout, and this is 3 slides. This one is popular because it includes lines for audience notes. The other layouts in the Handouts section have 4 slides, 6 slides, or 9 slides on a page. The numbers of slides per page are set. You can't change those. However, there are different slide arrangements. These 3 are horizontal, meaning that the slides read left to right on the page. These 3 are vertical. I'll click 9 slides vertical. Here, the slides read top to bottom, left to right, as if in columns. For this handout, I'll go with the 3 slides layout. The slides will be readable, and I like the lines for notes. Regarding page orientation, this layout automatically uses portrait. So the slides are laid out vertically, top to bottom. I'll compare the landscape orientation. This turns the page so it's horizontal and arranges the slides left to right. I'm going to keep the portrait setting because I like the way that orientation uses the space. Now let's think about color options for the handout. My printer is set to print in color, so that's what we see in the preview. It looks great, but I'd rather save the color ink and print in black and white. I'll see how grayscale looks. I'll zoom way in so we can see the details better. Grayscale renders all the slide colors using gray shading. So the wild grass detail is now gray. Grayscale also preserves color fills, such as in these chevrons, where the slide number appears. I'll compare pure black and white. This removes color fills. Notice how the chevron is pure white, so the slide numbers aren't visible now. There's no gray, so the grass detail is solid black. The simplicity of this can be good. For these handouts, though, I like grayscale better because it shows the slide numbers. So I've picked a layout, page orientation, and color setting for the handout. Up next, before we print, we'll edit the headers and footers. Before you print your handout, be sure to check the headers and footers, the small print at the top and bottom of the page. Let's zoom in for a better view. This layout automatically includes the current date at the top on the right and a page number at the bottom on the right. To change these details or to add header and footer text, you click this link, Edit Header and Footer, at the bottom of Print View. In the dialog box, to change the date settings, check Date and Time. Then, choose a different format for the date if you want. If you didn't want the date to update automatically, you could check Fixed. Next, to add a text header, check Header and type your text. I'll type the company name. Notice how when the header box is checked, the header placeholder in the preview turns bold, indicating that the header will appear on the page. For the text footer, I'll check Footer and type in the company's web address. Then, to apply these settings to all the handout pages, I'll click Apply to All. I see the new date format is applied. The company name appears as a header. And for the text footer, there's the web address. I'll zoom back out. Now, if later you want to remove headers or footers from the handout, you click Edit Header and Footer and follow these steps. For the header or footer text, leave the box selected, but delete the text and click Apply to All. That removes header and footer text. To hide the date, display the dialog box, select Fixed, delete the date there, and click Apply to All. That removes the date from the handout. For now, though, we like having headers and footers. And we're ready to print the handout. For more details about working with headers and footers in a handout, see the course summary at the end of this course. Up next, use Notes pages for a handout. You may find when you create your slides that you have a lot of information for your audience. Too much, in fact, to squeeze onto the slides. That is, if you want them to be readable and effective. Here's an alternative that your audience will appreciate. Open the Notes pane for the slide and put the additional details there. You'll still cover the information when you present, and you can include it in your audience handout using Notes pages. This is how. Let's click File, Print to open Print View and look at the handout options. The layout called Notes Pages is one of the options. I'll click it to see a preview. The Notes page includes the slide plus all the notes that you've put in the Notes pane for that slide. You can print the whole presentation as Notes pages and give your audience the slides plus all the details in the notes. Another attractive thing about Notes pages is that you can format them. Let's go back to Normal View to see how. As you create your slides and notes, click View, Notes page at any time to see your notes in a Notes page format. I'll zoom in for a closer look. In this view, organize and format the notes as if you were working in a document. For instance, I'll select this text and click Home, Bullets to make this a bulleted list. I could do this type of formatting in the Notes pane, but I find the view here easier to work in. A great thing is that the view allows you to paste in graphics. To move to another Notes page, use these double arrows on the lower right. Here I'm pasting in a SmartArt org chart. I'll zoom out again, and I'll click the Next Slide arrows to switch pages again. Notes page view also shows you whether your notes will fit on the page when you print. To return to Normal View, click the Normal button. To work in the Notes pane as you create your slides, either drag the double arrow cursor to open and close the pane, or click Notes down here to open and close it. When you're finished with your slides and notes and you're ready to print, click File, Print. Be sure you've selected the Notes page's layout and choose the other options you want for the handout. For more details about working with Notes pages, see the course summary at the end of this course. Up next, print your handouts in Word. For your handouts, you might wish for a document format in which you could edit the content and apply styles and other formatting. If so, you're in luck. You can print the handouts in Microsoft Word. To do that, when you're ready to create handouts, click File, Export, Create Handouts. When you click Create Handouts again, PowerPoint opens this dialog box with layout choices. Two of the layouts include your speaker notes with the slides in the handout. One of these layouts arranges the notes next to the slides. The other one places the notes beneath each slide. Two other Word layouts you might like include blank lines for audience notes. In one of these, the lines are next to the slides, and in the other, the lines are below each slide. For the layouts with notes or blank lines next to the slide, Word arranges the content in a table format, so you can work with it in rows or columns. This means you can use table tools. For example, when I click Design here under Table Tools, I can apply a table style, which defines the table borders and each slide row. If the layout includes speaker notes, I could select them in a column and change the formatting. For example, I'll click Home, Font Size to reduce the size to 10. In the Word handout, you edit the text like you would in any document. Here, I'm copying a paragraph and dragging it to the next row. If there's a slide that you want to make more readable, you drag a corner to enlarge it. To make the table columns adjust to the enlarged slide, you click the Layout tab under Table Tools, select Table to select the whole table. Then click Autofit Contents. The table adjusts to fit the contents. You might prefer a layout that puts the notes or lines below the slide. This produces a larger slide image and gives more space for the content below it. Looking again at the layout choices for Word, note this option called Paste Link. If I select this when I create the handouts, PowerPoint keeps a link to the Word document. Then, if I make a change to the slides in the presentation, I can update the handout too. I right-click the slide in the document and click Update Link. And there's the new slide content. For Word handouts, note that for header and footer content, I'd click Insert and use the header and footer commands. When I'm ready to print my Word handout, I click File, Print, to open Print View in Word. I select my print choices there, such as color and page orientation, and then I click Print. With your knowledge of print and handout choices, you'll create handouts that suit your audience and support a great presentation experience. For more information, see the course summary and experiment on your own.